How's it growing? If you're just joining us, or if you're just, especially if you're new to watching Stacks Urban Harvest, just wanted to introduce Cynthia Schaefer. She has a series on Stacks Urban Harvest called Urban Homesteading, and she and I bring two different methods of organic gardening, and we actually go beyond organic gardening and into regenerative gardening. And we're excited to talk a little bit about that today. But Cynthia, want to say something? Hi,
Hey,
welcome.
David. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, and I am so excited to have watched your channel grow through the years, or the year. I guess it hasn't been that long. Tell me, what prompted you to start the channel? What was your motivation?
Well, it was actually May 2020 that we launched the channel, and I launched the channel, and we're admins. You started the Facebook page, South Florida Edible and Sustainable Living, Edible Gardening and Sustainable Living. It's a long name. And before the pandemic, we had about 3,000 members, and now we have how many?
26,000.
Yeah, we have over 26,000. So that is the effect that the pandemic had on people wanting to grow their own food. And okay, let me just say personally, I'm an introvert, and I am not, it's out of my comfort zone to get out in front of the camera, especially in this live setting sort of thing. And so we may not do a whole lot of these. So I said it there, okay? But there was a mission. I saw all these new gardeners starting to try gardening in South Florida, and I mean, actually throughout the state because of the pandemic. And I grew up gardening in Southern California. That was a passion of mine. I loved working with plants. Couldn't wait to get home from school so I can get in the greenhouse that my dad built me. He actually built for himself, but I took it over. And I was very passionate about it. And then I started gardening once I moved out here. And it was so much work for what I was getting in return. And I was like, what the heck? What's wrong? It's not like I'm new to gardening. What is wrong with this? And it took me a little while. There was a learning curve because we have a lot of sand, a lot of dead dirt, and this humidity. It was very different, even though in San Diego County, where I grew up, it's also zone 10, where we are here. It's very, very different. So I was driven to get out in front of a camera and start this channel because initially I had a friend that wanted to start a victory garden. And I thought, well, it'd be good for me to just do a tutorial for her, show her. You know, it was the peak of, or the beginning of the peak of COVID, and didn't really want to go over it person to person with her. So I was going to do this video, and I thought, you know, I've been kind of wanting to start this channel, so let me just turn this into the first episode. And that's how the first episode started, because I was talking about these plants to my friend, and you know, telling about each one of the plants. Then recently we started a secondary mission, and that is regenerative agriculture, regenerative gardening. And so what is regenerative gardening? I'm amazed at how many people still don't know what that is. Cynthia Schaefer did a really good presentation. It's one of the latest videos that I have. There's a short version and a long version, and she talks a lot about that and what that is. And I'm so glad, you know, Cynthia, sure, we have our differences of opinions, but I'm moving more and more in her direction because she is so much about, and we both are now, working with nature instead of working against nature. And I'm excited about what I'm seeing. I mean, this cover crop series that I did to kill nematodes, I mean, that was a huge step for me moving in her direction. working with nature. So here's one of the things, Cynthia. I will get on these rabbit trails and then I'll forget where I was going. So Cynthia's going to help me keep on track today. So regenerative gardening, the whole regenerative movement, it's huge. I highly recommend watching the film it's a documentary on Netflix, and it's narrated by Woody Harrelson. It's called Kiss the Ground. Powerful film that really talks about the different principles. So it's not just one principle, it's a lot of different principles that go way beyond organic gardening. Sure, organic, permaculture, hugelculture, thank you. A lot of these different things work in concert with regenerative agriculture. And so I'm really excited about the power of this and how working with nature, we can build resilience in our gardens. So, I don't have a whole lot of time between working full time and I have a long drive to West Palm Beach for my commute. So I don't have a whole lot. And then the YouTube channel, I don't have a whole lot of time to be out in the garden. So what I need to have is a resilient garden. And so that the time that I do have, it's more about building that resilience. And so that's one of the challenges that I personally have. And I think the viewers of the channel are going to benefit because I'm showing, hey, this is working for David Stack. He doesn't have a whole lot of time in the garden right now. And this, Cynthia, you brag about being the lazy gardener, and maybe comment on that. I mean, it's kind of the same thing in a way.
Absolutely. If you let the system do the work and you let what wants to grow, life becomes so much easier. And David, I think like me, you probably watch the news and you're looking at what's happening in the food system, especially right now between the war and the droughts. A third of Pakistan is underwater. We're really seeing some big disruptions to food supply on the production side. So I guess my question to you is, what role do you think that backyard regenerative gardening plays in the urban landscape to help us during these times of food disruptions?
Right. The thing, first of all, with the Ukraine, you may know that's the Ukraine is a huge supplier of grain, and the farmers are not able to do their thing. And so that problem, Europe is going to be affected first. And I believe there's going to be a ripple effect throughout the world. And it's not just, go ahead.
Already, at least 23 countries have stopped exporting certain food items as of a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it's not just the grains, it's going to ripple into a lot of different
and then places. So it's that compounded with a number of other things. It's like a perfect storm. We have a huge disruption in the supply chain issue because of COVID, of fertilizers not being able to get to the United States. And sure, regenerative gardening or regenerative agriculture is about getting away from fertilizers, not using them. But as Cynthia talked about in her presentation about food steading, is that we can't transform overnight. We need steps and do this incrementally. So Terraganics has a product that I'm going to be reviewing in one of my videos soon, where you can use about half of the amount of nitrogen, along with these effective microbes. And I see it as a huge way that can help farms transition from fertilizing to doing it regeneratively. and I'll talk a little bit more about Terraganics later.
During World War II, something like 40% of the fruits and vegetable needs of the United States were grown in backyards. So I think the gardens can make a huge impact on people's budget and be really, really helpful. Tell me a little bit more about your vision for the channel going forward. Where do you go from here?
I keep asking myself, how can Stacks Urban Harvest be a service to our local community? And sure, I'm focused so much on South Florida, but there are a lot of, we get viewers from Indonesia and China and other places around the world with similar climates. So, if you're in a similar climate, a lot of the things that we talk about are applicable to other parts of our country in completely different climate zones. So what I'm asking myself, though, is how can we be a more service? And Cynthia, you know that when we have new gardeners, they have the same questions asked over and over again. Oh my gosh, these mushrooms are coming up. What do I do? What do I do? What am I doing wrong? So I want to have a video about, and there's another thing is Epsom salts. Oh, maybe, yes, let's throw Epsom salts and spray it into our tomato plants. Cynthia and I don't use Epsom salt in the garden, and I want to do a video on why. And it has to do with a balance of letting nature do its thing. And if you could actually be very likely, I can tell you now from soil tests that I've done, if I use Epsom salts in my garden, I will be making the imbalances worse that I have. So unless you're doing soil tests and you need magnesium in the garden, so these things that are being brought up by new gardeners or even seasoned gardeners that haven't transitioned to regenerative agriculture, regenerative gardens, they're asking these questions. And what I would like to do, my vision is to have a video for whenever every single one of these specific questions or topics that come up. And so that when our viewers see these questions in social media, oh, David or Cynthia, hey, they did a video about this. Get that link, post it in there. Question answered. So I see that, but also my other vision is, if you notice, most of the videos lately have been a shorter format. And so what I'm, unless Cynthia, or if I am speaking at a garden club and we get a video of that, it's going to be much longer for those who want to do a deep dive on the topic. But what I want to do is move towards be brief, be short, be fun, and be done. Because most people don't have the time to watch a 45-minute video to have their question answered. And then I have some nuggets in some of those long talks that I've done that I want to take, and I can make a shorter video out of that topic. And one topic I need to edit soon, I want to edit soon, is where the garden club up in Treasure Coast had me talk about turning sand into soil. And so it was a topic I spoke about last year, and just haven't got a chance to edit that yet.
David, one of the things that I admire about you is you give a lot of your time to these videos. And I think people don't understand how much time we give. We're not getting paid. We're just doing this out of passion and love. And recently you had a garden supply company approach you about a partnership, but you turned them down. Tell us why.
Okay, I'm not going to mention the name of the company publicly, but if you go to any of the box stores that have garden supplies, you'll see their products on the shelves, and I've got mixed feelings about this. First of all, I feel grateful. I feel so grateful that companies are starting to take notice of Stack's Urban Harvest and want to partner with the channel. But here's the thing is, it has to be in line with the vision and the mission and the content of the channel. If it doesn't, I don't want anything to do with it, especially, well, first of all, when they contacted me, I looked into their products, and I've used a couple of their products before. One of their organic pesticides. Sorry, Cynthia. That's one of the things that we disagree on, but like I said, I'm moving more in her direction. So some of their products were organic and some of them were not. And I thought, well, I've got an open mind. Let me look at their organic product. If there's something I could really get behind. Well, I looked at their weed killer, and that said it was organic. It wasn't. Cynthia, don't have a heart attack, please. So it was claimed to be organic. It didn't have the OMRI seal of certification or USDA certified organic. But you know, when it's like that, you're trusting the company. When they're not certified, you're trusting the company that they're honest and they truly are organic. Well, I looked at their ingredients, and their key ingredient is the same freaking ingredient as Roundup. I'm like, are you kidding me? Glyphosate is so toxic and it's cancer causing, and you say it's organic? And I wrote them back nicely, and I said, I'm so grateful that you would want to have a partnership with the YouTube channel, but I really have a concern with this glyphosate in the product that your company claims is organic. And they wrote back nicely. We had a nice back and forth, and they seemed open-minded about possibly, you know, looking in the future to removing glyphosate from that product. And here's another thing is, so I have things that I've been doing, and the things that Cynthia and I don't quite see eye to eye on yet. She doesn't badger me over it. We have a discussion about it, and we have you're not going to change someone else's mind by badgering them and screaming. We have too much screaming back and forth, and that does not solve anything. So, yeah.
Full confession, I have badgered people on Facebook in the past, but only when I couldn't help myself.
Okay, well, you know, I can't imagine you badgering anyone. But here's the thing is, I've been moving in her direction, and if she had badgered me about it, I probably wouldn't be as open-minded to, hey, you know, maybe I should try Cynthia's method on letting those aphids take over and see what happens. And I have a video about that. Anyway, so back to the companies. So I had another company that contacted me, and nothing has really come of it yet. But then I contacted, well, first of all, let me go back to when Jason from Tree Amigos Growers, he introduced me to a couple of products. And I meant to have my bokashi composter back here. I do have some of their products, and I have seeds soaking in EM1 right now that I'm going to plant later today. And then these are some of my plants that I'll be planting out soon out in the garden that I started indoors. So, but Jason at Tree Amigos Growers introduced me to EM1, effective microbes. And I've seen some amazing things around the property, that in our small property, that EM1 has done for us. Also, bokashi composting can turn food scraps into usable, rich in microbes and nutrient compost within 4 to 5 weeks. So I did a couple videos on those. I'll put a link in the description. I mean, in the description and also up here to those videos. But so I contacted Terraganics. I thought, it doesn't hurt to, I sent them a little promo video that I did for this video I was working on, and they contacted me back, and now we have a partnership, and it's a company that I really love their products, and I believe in. So here, the takeaway with this, the whole point, I'm not going to promote a product that I wouldn't use myself. And if I really believe that it can benefit any of our gardens, so yeah, sure, I might make a small commission, but I'm not going to promote something that doesn't line up with the channel vision, mission, and content.
Depend on your integrity.
Right. That's important to me. I want to be consistent with what I'm talking about, and I want you to know that this is a product that if I recommend it, that you can rely on that. In this past week, we hit 1,000 subscribers on the channel, and that's a nice milestone. But the main thing is Cynthia and I just wanted to take this opportunity, and this is great, because the more viewers we have, the more chance we have to maybe double down on the content that we're giving the viewers. And what I've been doing is, since I've noticed some uptick on the activity on the channel, it's encouraged me to kind of double down on that vision that I have to answer those specific questions. And also I have a long list of things that I want to do a video about, and I'm sure Cynthia does too. And we've actually shot some video for some of the upcoming videos that we're going to do.
So the caring community, which is just a huge group of volunteers here in Broward County, is giving away a mini food forest or a butterfly garden for regenerative gardening. We're calling it Gardens Matter Giveaway. And we're committed to up to 100 backyard mini food forests and 20 butterfly gardens. We've partnered with a lot of fabulous people in Broward County, including Community Cares, the Boy Garden. Jason at Tree Amigos has been really generous in his support, and the Monarch Garden 4-H Club. We're really excited about this because the more regenerative gardens we can get out in our county, the better it's going to be for all of us. The heat island effect hasn't really hit South Florida yet, but in Madrid, they're planting 500,000 trees to try to mitigate the heat island effect. And if we can plant regenerative gardens here, we're helping the environment, we're getting good quality food at a very low cost into our bellies and our families' bellies, and we're just making it a nicer place for all of us, including the wildlife. So we're excited about that, David, and we appreciate all your help with that.
That's exciting, and I'm going to be there when you have the plant propagation and get video of that, so that I can show that on the channel as well. And Cynthia, I really appreciate that you have been adding valuable content to the channel, and thank you for that, and thank you for being with me today. And also, I want to thank Scott Fitzgerald with RockVox, a podcasting company that he has, and he's taking care of all the technicals so I can just focus on the content today. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. So, live regeneratively and let's grow together.